Welcome to the Candy Agent Console training. Before we begin, there's a couple things that we wanted to discuss. First and foremost, this does need to be run on a desktop computer, either a Windows machine or a Macintosh, and you do need to be using a Chrome browser. A headset is required to answer and initiate calls from your computer. Please do not connect using a mobile or tablet device. If you're also using a SIP hard IP phone with the same user ID and telephone number, both devices will ring, but you must choose which device to answer. Once you've answered on a particular device, you must complete the call on that same device. This cloud service does not support the constant transfer feature. However, it is not grayed out. Please utilize the conference feature if you must announce callers before transferring to the destination, then hang up. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about the receptionist console for Candy Call Center. The first thing that we're going to take a look at today is the navigation of the tool. The first thing you'll notice up in the top left-hand corner is going to be the branded logo. Directly below that is your dial pad. If you need to make an outbound call, you can easily type in a telephone number in this location. If you would prefer to not use the number pad on your keyboard, you can actually click the little number keypad button, and that'll bring up a number pad for you to be able to make the telephone call. Up in the top right-hand corner is where your settings information can be found. So by clicking on your profile, you have the ability to log out of the system. You can go into the settings, or you can download a log file. Let's take a look at the settings. When we go into settings, on the left-hand side is our various tabs. The first tab you come to is the options menu. And here's a quick look at all the options that are available. When you go down to shortcuts, this is where you can go to set up keyboard bindings to be able to make and receive telephone calls, place callers on hold, all of those things. The directory is giving you the ability to display what information is going to show in the global address book that we'll look at here in a few minutes. But by turning these toggles on will allow for the information to either display or not display in the directory. The Appearance tab allows you to go in and do some quick customization on particular color codes and things of that nature for incoming calls, outgoing calls. So if you wanted to make modifications to this template, you certainly can do that. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the call panel. So this panel in the center of the screen here, below the number pad, is where you'll notice the ability to receive telephone calls. It's also where outbound calls will display. When a call comes into the program, it will display in yellow by default, although you can pick and choose which color you'd like in the settings. When a call comes into the queue, it does again display in yellow. Up at the top is where all your button controls are. So if I wanted to mute my line, if I wanted to place a telephone call or answer this telephone call or just hang up on the caller, I can do that. You also have that option in the More menu or the three-dot menu under Actions. I can answer, hang up, mute, or create a memo about this call. Once I go ahead and answer the call, I then have the ability to mute my line. I can hang up the call. I can place the caller on hold. I can transfer the call. I can park the caller, or I can set them up to camp onto another line. Once again, using the three-dot menu, I have all of those same options. When you answer the telephone call, it does display in green. If I were to place this caller on hold, that call will immediately switch over to a blue color, indicating that that caller is on hold. If I wanted to resume the call, I can go ahead and hit the play button, and that will allow me to resume that telephone call. When clicking the transfer button, it will come up and ask you to type in the telephone number. So if I wanted to transfer this call to another extension, I could type that in. If I wanted to transfer it to another 10-digit telephone number, I could type that information in and then click the transfer button. Now that we've talked about one way to transfer using the buttons at the top, let me share with you a couple other ways that we'll look at in more detail as we progress through the training. So while you're on a telephone call, you can also click the three-dot action menu and choose transfer from the list. When you click on this transfer, it'll put your cursor back in the box up at the top, and you can type in the extension or use the number pad built into the software. In addition to that, you can also use the company directory down below. We'll talk about the company directory again momentarily, but in the actions menu there's an option to transfer to a particular person, or if you've got someone set up as a favorites, you can use the three-dot menu in the favorites to transfer directly to that person. To hang up, you just click on the little phone with the line through it, and that'll disconnect that call. In addition to receiving inbound telephone calls in the calling area, you can also use this section to make outbound telephone calls. To do this, we're going to click on the dial pad area, and we can start typing in either the 10-digit telephone number or the extension of the person that we're trying to reach. So in this case, I'm going to use an extension of 5028. Now I have the option of pressing the enter key. I could have also used the number pad built into the system. Again, just dialing 5028 and pressing the call button, but the enter key would have also made that call. Once I hit the call button, you can see it starts ringing, and when the far end answers, we'll be connected on the call. Directly below the calling panel is where you're going to find your company directory. Within the directory, you can search for other people within your organization. Once you found the person that you would like to work with, you can click on their name. It's going to give you, in the info tab, it's going to give you additional information about that person, such as the business name, number, or any additional details that are not displayed in this bar here. By clicking on actions, you have the ability to call this person. You can set up a speed dial. You can create a memo. You can edit their contact information. If you were active on a telephone call, it would also give you the ability to transfer the call to that person. Let's take a look at that. So again, I've got a telephone call coming in. I'm going to go ahead and answer that telephone call. Once I'm talking on this phone, if I wanted to transfer this caller to Jeremy, I can go ahead and click the actions menu. I can select transfer and to the business number. That's going to automatically transfer that call over to Jeremy's phone. If I wanted to search through the global address book, you do have the ability here in the search bar to start typing in a contact's name. When you press enter or the search icon, it will go ahead and locate anybody that matches based on the information you type in. Over on the right-hand side, we have the information box, which we've talked about. There's also a favorites area. The favorites menu allows for you to store additional contacts that you contact frequently. From within this favorites menu, you have the ability to click the more menu, and you can either call or remove the person from your favorites list. The speed dial area is where you can go to set up speed dial contacts. So if you are, again, making outbound calls to certain telephone numbers on a regular basis, this is where you can go to do that. Up in the top right-hand corner of the directory, you have the history button. This will pull up call logs, so you can see your placed calls, received calls, and missed calls from here. In addition, from the history area, you can also call people back. To do this, all you need to do is click on the line item, and you'll see in the background, it'll start making the telephone call. Now, if I were to close this, I can see I'm in progress on that telephone call. The plus or the add contact button is going to give you the ability to add somebody to the company directory. And the paperclip icon is your memo list. So if you needed to add a memo, you could come in here and see the existing memos that are present. If you click the plus symbol, it'll give you the ability to type in a new memo. If you enable the reminder, you can set it up so that it reminds you on a particular day or time so that you can go about making a return phone call or something of that nature. By populating all the information, it will come in and enable a reminder at that particular day. If you were to place a caller on park, they would show in this park tab. And if you're using the full Candy call center, you do have the ability to see queues here. You can see the number of calls waiting, the number of agents logged in, if you turn the queue on or off, if you have the ability to do so. All right, and that covers everything that we wanted to talk about in terms of general navigation of the tool. We've been able to make and receive telephone calls. We've talked about the company directory, how to go in and set speed dials and favorites. We've also looked at the parking lot and the queues. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to candytraining@candy.io. We'd be more than happy to assist you.